Browns 34-20 winners over the Washington football team. My instant reaction to this game, my post that I put up, was that this team is very much a work in progress, Mary Kay, and it was evident today. But at the same time, look, a win's a win, and you're 2-1, so you can't really complain about that part.
The offense really kind of started to struggle, especially the passing game. Maybe Baker didn't have his best game, even though he ended up with a pretty good rating and 2 touchdowns and things like that. But they started to falter a little bit there in the third quarter. But the defense just came through for them. And that's what you need to do. You need one unit to bail out another when you start to struggle. And the defense was just lights out in this game with 5 takeaways. Now, one of them was at the tail end of the first half, nothing that, the offense really could cash in on. But the rest of those takeaways, they got 3 touchdowns off of them, and they got a field goal. So 24 points off of these 5 takeaways. I mean, my goodness, you're going to win the game probably 99% of the time when you're +5 in the turnover ratio. And obviously that was the difference here today.
This was sort of a reverse of what Washington has done really leading into this game. They really took advantage of some turnover luck, had some short fields. It's why they came back against Philadelphia. The Browns really returned that favor today. Look, the offense was not pretty. Baker really did struggle. But when your defense gives you those opportunities to take advantage of it, that's really what matters. You've got to be able to do that. And I thought that was, that's a sign of progress for this team. This team is still figuring things out. This was only their 3rd game. So for them to be able to turn those turnovers into points, which isn't something we've always seen, it is huge.
Right. And they started all of those drives in Washington territory. So that was really, really key. They were starting at the 28, the 24, the 35, the 41. And you're right, they turned them into points. Some of the reasons they turned them into points were, of course, the really hard running of Nick Chubb, and some Kareem Hunt and a great catch by Kareem and things like that. So, that had a lot to do with it too. Nick had one of those days where he, strapped the team onto his back and just said, whatever else we might not be doing well offensively perhaps today, I'm going to put this team on my back and carry it. How many times and how many times have we seen Nick do that before? Not only does he carry the team on his back, he carries other defenders on his back. My goodness, he's an absolute joy to watch.
Yeah, and I think that's the other thing that stood out to me today is there's some clear things that this team does well that they can lean on. Running the ball is one of them. Myles Garrett is another. This is the 2nd straight game where he had a strip sack. This one really helped put this football game away. And it was a more impressive play even than the one against Cincinnati. But the way this team finished today, kind of able to rely on their strengths, let the pass rushers get after it, and then let those running backs do their work. That's a really encouraging sign as well.
Yeah, it really is. And you know what? Myles Garrett came into this season determined to make those game-changing plays. And we were critical of him. We've been very critical of him for not making enough of those plays, for not getting the takeaways, for not, just you walk away from the game and who are we going to be talking about today? And now on 2 occasions, back to back, we're walking out of a game talking again about Myles Garrett. And that's what you have to have from that guy. Now, having said that, I will say we have to mention that Chase Young was not in this football game for most of the game. Think about the fact that if the Browns didn't have Myles Garrett in this game, it makes a difference when your best defensive player is not in the game. They not only lost Chase Young early on to a groin injury for the game, but they also lost Matt Ioannidis, and another really good defensive player. Now, the Browns aren't going to feel too sorry for them because they're down so many defensive players on their own, including Denzel Ward didn't get to play the whole game because of the groin injury and whatnot. But still, I do think that it helped. I thought going into this game, the guy who could absolutely wreck it for the Washington football team was going to be Chase Young. And I think it was a tremendous break for the Browns that he sat out most of the game.
Mary Kay, let's talk about Baker Mayfield. I thought, this was not a great performance really at the start. I felt like the pressure kind of got to him a little bit. But then look, he made 2 big throws on that drive that ended in the Harrison Bryant touchdown. It was a must-have drive. He had the 3rd down throw to Odell, And then he had the touchdown throw to Harrison Bryant on the move. It was a really excellent throw. So that's also good to see from Baker, that when they needed him to make some plays, he was able to. I'm still not sure, we saw everything we needed to see from him, but we at least saw some good things there towards the end.
Yeah, and you know what? I agree with you, Dan. And I think what's happening here right now is I think Baker is feeling his way and learning his way in this offense. Okay, it's all new to him. He's still, just trying to, assimilate new terminology, new footwork, new everything. And while he's coming up that learning curve, because that's the truth of what's happening here. Other people are coming through for him. You're right. He did make a couple of big time plays, big time throws. The one to Odell was huge. And of course, you've got an amazing receiver like Odell coming through and helping you make that play. And there were a couple of those. But you're right. The touchdown pass to Harrison Bryant, that was clutch. That was a money play. And you do need those plays from Baker. But I could sense in his post game interview that he really wasn't happy with his performance today. I think he knows that he needed some of those short fields for these guys to win this game, and that he has to pick it up a notch. He had some things that he wasn't happy with, like the intentional grounding and a few other plays like that where he took a sack and he needs to ID things a little bit better. So Baker has to play better than this going forward. But if you can collect a few victories while he's kind of getting it together, that's important.